the development diaries where they talk about the eighth circle of hell, and yeah, EA made a massive fuck up because they said the seventh circle was held the second, and I was like, oh, someone messed up, someone's getting fired. And I've looked these up, and the imagery would possibly be the thing that sells it for me because going through these circles, you're like, hey, look at that on the wall, that's like a severed head. It's all like, and I'm like, ah, and stuff like that, and you just go through and get really scared of the stuff you see around you because you are in hell. And
Uh,
and it's just it looks like a God of War game because it looks like a hack and slash like Dynasty Wars, but not as fun because Dynasty Wars is the god of every hack and slash game.
well, as you said, though, yeah, the imagery really that was the main thing. I really, apart from the Dynasty Warriors series, I really don't play any hack and slash games. But yeah, as you said, the imagery is the main draw of Dante's Inferno, and I've got to say, and you say that it does look like a God of War game, and in the basics, it pretty much is. You're a guy who goes around in ancient mythology killing mythological creatures, and that's essentially God of War, isn't it?
Yeah,
But like Dante's Inferno, the imagery is just so amazing. I mean, I've heard a lot of people actually complain.
you can tell that all the time in that game, the development team was spent designing those areas.
Yeah, I mean, the detail that goes into some of these places. I mean, I did actually do a review of this, like I briefed my thoughts on, where I said it sucked. And if any of you remember that, because it's actually now been taken down, I'm gonna say quickly, I did not mean it. I was just really pissed off because there's this one puzzle which I could not figure out. Uh, and that was it. Was essentially me throwing a hissy fit about the fact that I couldn't figure out.
Man, they didn't give me a gun.
But but yeah,
Dante with a gun.
the game itself is actually very good. The gameplay isn't groundbreaking. It isn't, world beating. It's playable, not the best in the world. The combat, the like upgrade system, you've got two separate trees, holy or unholy, and you'd think it'd affect the ending. It doesn't. I
It
played
really
as the
doesn't.
no, it does not. I played as the most evil bastard ever, and I still went to heaven.
Wow.
At least I assume it's heaven. It might be purgatory. I'm not sure. But I still went to
Oh.
paradise and saved. I saved my woman, Beatrice.
Beatrice!
Actually, I'm gonna get into the story, so I can just waffle about this for ages.
Hmm?
Because I've actually looked up a lot of backstory about the writer Dante Alighieri. But anyway, yeah, the imagery is amazing. I've actually heard a lot of complaints about the depiction of Cerberus. Kind of disgusting, multiple mouth, horrific.
It's like a worm, really.
It's like it's like the heads are kind of worm-like, but it doesn't have any eyes or anything. It is just multiple mouths. A lot of people argue against that, but I think that's actually a very good interpretation because
He is positioned in gluttony.
and if anything, the description of Cerberus in the actual book is sketchy at best. The mainly described as like gnashing teeth. So you can so get away with that. And death is the only thing I'm sort of disappointed with because I don't know why he looks like an elf of some kind to me because he doesn't have he doesn't have a skeletal face. His face is just kind of wide. It's not skeletal. It's just wide and drawn in. That's the only thing. It doesn't look like he's starving or like skin on the bone. It just looks like he's got grey skin and gaunt cheeks. That's my only problem. Actually, they made a very good depiction of Satan in not his final form in the game, but his second to last form, where he's kind of frozen as this kind of huge monstrosity in hell. That was that was very precise to the book.
Was he crying and eating three sinners?
He wasn't crying.
Oh.
And only two of his mouths were eating the sinners.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it was quite good to the point where he did actually
Here's
attack.
like a picture of this.
He did actually attack you with it's said in the book. I've got half a mind to actually get the book down off my shelf and recite to you the canto. In fact, yes, I will. Just a moment.
As I do that, I will find a picture of Dante's Inferno video game Satan.
Okay, I'm just trying to find the canto.
Which you will see in the video.
Canto 3. Light, yeah, whatever. I think this goes into 36 cantos. No, 34. It's not the best. Reach the hemisphere where visible. No, that's not about how he went to purgatory.
Google image search. I'm pretty sure I didn't look up Satan South Park. Hmm. Okay. Better hurry up, then, boy.
So I'm really.
Yeah, don't you I played the demo. You basically kill Death in the beginning, take a scythe. Like,
Yeah, I
how could
can't.
you
I'm
kill
sorry.
Death?
I'm sorry. I can't look at the counter. Actually, and you do actually raise a good point there in how you kill Death at the beginning. But that's actually an
Doesn't
interesting
that
thing.
just fuck up everything?
But there's the thing, you don't. The hell in it is his own personal hell, manufactured pretty much by Satan himself. So none of the events that you see actually occurred, because if any of you have played the demo, you'll see that an Arab runs up behind him and stabs him in the back, and he falls over and he just pulls it out of his back and starts fighting Death. In reality, he died there. That was the end of Dante of the game's Dante. He was killed by the Arab.
Bum bum bum.
I'm sorry. I'm going to spoil it. But you could probably guess that, given that he's fighting Death.
Yeah, really.
And actually, and Satan, while mocking you as any good villain does at the end, he does actually show you your own corpse, which freaks you out at the end. But yes, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, you do actually die. So none of it actually happened. It's kind of like a mind fuck created by Death, not Death, Satan.
Death and Satan.
Death and
together in an apartment.
Okay.
They come.
And there's an interesting thing about the story. There's another thing. The story is actually it pretty much has nothing to do with the actual book. I mean, the only things that are similar in the narrative is he travels through hell and he's accompanied by Virgil and he sees Satan at the end. That's about it.
Was Virgil a big role in it? Because in the book he was a big role.
Virgil is a huge role. Like, in between all of what are essentially little arenas where you fight enemies, you will always. You're not forced to talk to Virgil, but I'm pretty sure you're supposed to.
Wait, so there's an option not to like. Where am I at? I don't care. I'm just gonna keep going because I'm a normal gamer.
Well, you've got to remember it is a hack and slash. Hack and slashes don't attempt to appeal to the most intelligent people in the world.
Yeah. God of War.
If you talk to Virgil, Virgil is actually the closest representation to something from the actual book. Simply because he does actually quote the book. Pretty much all of his lines are quotes from the book. Describing things. But anyway, about the story, the narrative, yes. Essentially, the narrative of it is you are going back to wherever you come from. It's never really made clear what nationality the Dante of the game is. I assume he's Italian, like the real Dante Alighieri, but I'm not quite sure. But you essentially go home, you find that everyone's dead at home, like your father and Beatrice, who's your lover. And you essentially have to fight through hell to get to her. Interesting little thing about Beatrice, actually. The name Beatrice isn't random. It's not because it's a medieval name. Dante, the real one, the one that actually existed, had an obsession in his life with a woman called Bice, like B-I-C-E, I think. I don't know if that's ever pronounced. Who everyone called Beatrice. So that's why it's Beatrice in the game. And
in a nickname, you tend to make it shorter. Not intentionally long. Make it longer.
No, but let me continue. And actually, in Dante's in front of the book, he is summoned by Beatrice. He's summoned by Beatrice to heaven, which is a bit of a deviation from this, where you're actually fighting through hell to get to Beatrice. Whereas in Dante, you just sort of have to go on a leisurely stroll through hell.
Where's my wife?
Yeah, but actually, there's an interesting thing. In both the book and the game, Beatrice supposedly has some very strong connection with Dante. In reality, they didn't. Honest to God, they were friends for a brief time when they were children. They never got married, and they very rarely spoke when they got into when they got to decent age, when they got into when they became adults, they barely ever spoke. It was just this kind of unnatural it's just kind of weird fixation that Dante had about Beatrice. It was actually quite a commonplace thing at the time, and that people would be where males would be obsessed with women and women would be obsessed with men. It was just this weird little thing, due probably to the kind of the repression of the emotion of love back then. So people had just sort of become obsessed.
I think we spoken about this for quite long now.
Yes.
Let's move on to coming soon games. All right, new game, Metro 2033. I've never heard of this game. Let me read the description. Metro 2033.
So I'm going to look this up on Wikipedia because I haven't heard of it either.
All right, let me read the description. Set in the shattered subway of a post-apocalyptic. I'm sorry, I have trouble with that word.